everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Helen and today I am excited to bring to you my new TBR game, Scrabble and this month it's going to be Scrabble and Spouse. So my husband Andy has picked 4 books for me and I will insert his video later to show you the books that he's chosen. But first I'm going to show you the 8 books that I've picked based off the tiles that my little girl drew for me a few months ago. I was meant to be doing my TBR game a few months ago. I picked him and I was going to do it just for myself before I started my channel, and then lots of readathons came along and I thought I'll take part in those, and it just got pushed further and further back. I thought no, I'm going to do it for October. So I will show you the tiles that she picked and the books that I've picked off my TBR cart based on those. So the first letter was, you can see it, L. I'll put it there. Can you see it? Yeah. And for that, I chose The Little Flower Shop by the Sea by Ali McNamara. I think this was one that my mum had finished reading and I read the back of it and thought, oh, that's a nice easy read, I'll have that one. I don't know much about it, I just know it's set in a little Cornish harbour town of St Felix and the main character is a girl called Poppy Carmichael. So I look forward to reading that and I will keep you informed of what I thought of it. So that's that one. The next one, excuse me, I put post-it notes on because I am taking part in a couple of readathons, so I'll fill you in later on what those are, and I've put the prompts that they can fit into. So the next letter is T, and I have gone for To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I've had this on my TBR for ages from the library. I want to get round to it because I want to watch it on Netflix, and it sounds really good, about a girl who writes letters to some boys that she doesn't intend to be read by anybody, and then they get out and people read them, and that's all I know. So I'm really looking forward to that one. So that was for T. I should add that anything that's got a the at the beginning, I've just took that out because otherwise everything would begin with T. So the next one I've gone for O. And for that one I've gone for Our Women on the Ground. It says essays by Arab women reporting from the Arab world. This was one that was recommended to me from mytbr.co, which is basically a website where I get 3 recommendations over 3 months based on my Goodreads, TBR, things that I've said I've really liked and things that I didn't like, and they base it around that. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, I just enjoy that website. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that that's where I got it recommended from. They recommended this, gosh, 6 months ago, and I just never got round to reading it after I bought it. So yeah, I've picked that one for O. Then I got my first D, and I've picked, oh goodness me, I've picked Dodger by Terry Pratchett. I mentioned this in another video. My uncle is a really big Terry Pratchett fan. I know he writes a lot of sci-fi and fantasy stuff, and I'm not really into that genre. However, he said he thought I'd like this because it's basically a story of like London years ago. So I'm going to give it a go. I have had this for so long, like way longer than you should have a borrowed book. But I don't think he wants it back anyway, so I'm sure he's happy for me to pass it along to somebody else once I've finished. But it's basically the story of Dodger, and that's all I know, but there's like a sci-fi fantasy element to it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finally giving that a go and letting him know what I think about it. The next letter I got was U. So I have gone for Us by David Nicholls. Now I mentioned this in a video the other day and said I thought that it was a film coming out or that had been out before lockdown. It's not. It's a TV like drama or something like that. It's actually a TV program, and I've taped it it was on over the weekend, I think. So I've taped it. So I want to possibly read this before I watch it because I do prefer to read the books first. But it's whether I can hold off because this program just looks really good. So yeah, it's basically about a man and woman, Douglas and Connie, and they suddenly realise their marriage is over, but he's trying to save it, so he takes her on a worldwide holiday or trip, and I think they take the teenage son with them. So I'm really excited to read that one. So that was for you. The next one was N. And for that one, I chose A Night In with Audrey Hepburn by Lucy Holiday. Now, I don't like reading series out of order, but I got the book A Night In with Marilyn Monroe. I got it in a book box that I'd ordered. So I read that not knowing it was part of a series, but I think this one came first. So I really want to read the whole series. There's this one, I think there's a Grace Kelly one, and I think those are the three. So it's basically about an actress, Libby Lomax, and then one day Audrey Hepburn turns up on a couch. I think the couch that she's got was a couch that had come from the old MGM Hollywood movie studios, and that's why these stars keep coming to visit her on a couch. So anyway, really excited to give that one a go. The next letter was D, and for that one I chose The Door That Led to Where. This was another one that I got in a book box. This one's by Sally Gardner. I think, judging by the back, this is a YA murder mystery. I don't know much about it. Just as a 16-year-old, AJ Flynn holds a key in his hand. It has his name and date of birth on it, but it's a key to a door that leads to where or when. So it just sounds interesting. I don't mind a murder mystery, even better if it's a YA, because it'll be less scary if there's scary bits in it for me. But yeah, really excited to give that one a go. So that was D. And the last letter that I got was R. I've decided to pick 8 because there's 8 that actually, I know in Scrabble you do 7, but 8 fit on the little stand, so I've gone for that. So R. And I've gone for Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and this was an Amazon gift from Mel from the channel A Book Fiend named Mel. So thanks again, Mel. I've really wanted to read this for a long time. It was on my Amazon wish list, so as soon as this came through for me, I thought I'm definitely including this. So I am excited for that one. So that's my 8 books that I've chosen. And I mentioned in one of my videos that I was going to ask you guys to pick it was going to be my 13th because Andy's 4 will be coming in a video shortly. So I had my 13th choice and I thought I'll let Twitter pick. And then in another video I thought, oh, actually I really want to get round to pumpkin heads, and that will fall in with Halloween because, you know, 13 is an unlucky number, and that, you know, Friday the 13th and all that. But then I thought, no, I'm still going to do the Twitter poll, but I'm going to allow pumpkin heads to be one of the options. So the 4 options that I'm going to put up on Twitter are, got the wrong ones, bear with me. The 4 options are Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. I'm not a massive fan of books that tell the same story but from a different character's point of view, and especially as this one is such a massive chunker. But it was only in the last 18 months that I've actually ever read the Twilight series and really enjoyed it. And I've heard from people that this is such a totally different perspective. There's times in the other books where Edward disappears and you never find out where he went to, but actually in this, because it's from his perspective, you do find those things out. So there's a lot more detail and, you know, things in there that I wouldn't have got in the other book. So I am going to give it a go, and it's coming from the lie before me. So I thought I'll put this as one of the options. So that's going to be on the Twitter poll. The next one is the next in the series of the Holly Jackson series. I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, really enjoyed it, and so this came into the library, Good Girl Bad Blood. So that's going to be one of the options for you to pick. Sorry, just putting all the sticky notes back on. Next is the one I've already mentioned, Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. I've never read a graphic novel before, so I thought this was the perfect opportunity, and it's October, so this will fit in really well for Halloween. So that's another option. And then the final option, I recently read The 7 Lives of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid and loved it. So I thought, well, why not go with Daisy Jones and the Six by the same author? And I've heard good things about this as well, and I really loved her writing style, so I'm hoping it's a similar kind of vibe for this. So that's the other option. So those are your 4 options. I'll put a Twitter poll up, and then you'll have decided what I read for my 13th choice. Now, the other 4 choices have been chosen by my husband, my spouse, for Scrabble and Spouse, so I will insert his video here with his 4 options.
Hi, I'm Andy, or the spouse of Scrabble and Spouse. So I'll be picking 4 books for Helen. She's got 8 from Scrabble, and I'll be picking 4. I don't know why I'm only half as important to Scrabble, but that's the rules. So the first book I've picked is How I Killed Margaret Thatcher. It's one that Helen brought home from the library for me. I'm not such a big reader, but Helen spotted this and thought I'd like it, and she was right. I read it in 3 days, which is unheard of for me. And I've picked it for Helen because it relates to my politics, and I think it would be good for her to read. It's fiction, but in a real environment, and I think it'd be a good thing to be able to talk to her about. So the rest of them are from Helen's TBR cart, so it was quite full. And the next one is Shagged, Married, Annoyed. It will be amusing to watch Helen talk about this because she will not say the word shagged. I picked this because it's about marriage. We are married. It's Scrabble and spouse. That's the whole reason I'm picking the books. So it seemed an obvious choice. Next one is Catch Me If You Can. Now I picked this because we both watched the film together. I've read this book a few years ago, but I've read it. So it's one that we'll be able to talk about afterwards. And it's not the book of the film. It wasn't the film of the book as such. It's not a fiction. It's not a novel about the experience. It's the man himself, Frank Abagnale, talking about his experience. So it's not a story. It's more of a biography style book. So it will have variations from the film, and it'll be good to discuss it with Helen afterwards. And the last one is also TV related, but not in the same sense. It's The Hunting Party. Now, the colour of this book, it stands out on the shelf. I spotted it a while ago, and looking at the back of it, it looks like I would enjoy the story. It's not something that would appeal to me to read, but if they made it a TV show or a film, it's something that I would like to watch. And if Helen reads the book, she would be more likely to then watch the film if it came out. So we could then watch that together. So they are the 4 books I've picked as the spouse part of Scrabble and Spouse. I'm sure Helen will have plenty to say about them in her own part of the video. So that's me done.
He did well, didn't he? So those are Andy's 4 options. The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley, How I Killed Margaret Thatcher by Anthony Cartwright, Married Annoyed by Chris and Rosie Ramsey, and Catch Me If You Can by Frank W. Abagnale with Stan Redding. Hi everyone, it's Editing Helen here. I totally forgot to give my reaction to the books that Andy had picked. I just list them all, so I'm going to give my reaction now. Hence why I look so different. So The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. I already read the guest list a few months ago, and I'm pretty sure I give that 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I've heard some people say that this is pretty similar, but I liked the setup of that. I thought it was great. You know, I can handle this kind of murder mystery. Well, I did find the guest list a bit freaky at points. It was like you really got that tension, and part of me was like, oh, I don't know if I want to know what goes on next. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I didn't guess who the murderer was, so I'm hoping I get to the end with this one and feel the same way. So he's made a really good choice here, because I picked this one because I'd read the other one and enjoyed it, so that's a good one for me. The next one, Catch Me If You Can. Like Andy said, we've watched this film together. Yeah, I remember enjoying the film. He said the book's quite different, so I'm intrigued by that. And yeah, great. I know he was laughing about this one. I just call it Married Annoyed. I picked this one up from the library for the same reason that he's given. It's about marriage. I love reading books about marriage because we're married, but this goes through, let me think, there's 3 sections, so it's talking, let me find it now. Well, it's that, isn't it? It's the first section where they're dating, and it goes through all those kind of things. So Saturday nights out on the tiles, undying crushes, dating, that kind of thing. Then it goes on to marriage, so finding the one, meeting the parents, first holidays and weekends away, stuff like that. And then annoyed is talking about all those little things that really annoy you when you are married and things that you bicker about. So I'm really excited to read this one. I loved Chris Ramsey on Strictly. I haven't had a chance to listen to the podcast yet, but I hope to get onto that soon. But hopefully, if I like this enough, that'll persuade me to go on that. And the last one, How I Kill Margaret Thatcher. Andy really dislikes Margaret Thatcher. I can't say I don't understand why, because I totally do. I think this one will be really interesting because it is a fiction, but it's obviously talking from a place where the character, the person who wrote it, I'm assuming, knows a lot about that history, and so they feel able to talk from this 9-year-old's perspective about that time. So I'm really interested to read that, and this one means more to me because he's picked it himself rather than going off my TBR cart. I know I picked it for him from the library, but the fact that he read it in 3 days is like amazing because he just doesn't tend to read books. So yeah, I'm thrilled, and I've actually ordered another 2 or 3 Anthony Cartwright books for him because he said he wouldn't mind reading some more. So yeah, he's made 4 really good choices there. They're none of them that I look at and think, oh, I really don't want to read that. I suppose it does help that they're off my TBR cart, and in future months, if I ask different people, they might suggest ones that aren't there. I work in a library, so if I asked any of the other library assistants, they wouldn't necessarily pick off here. They might have ones that they've read recently that they liked, and that's what's exciting about it. So yeah, really happy with Andy's choices and looking forward to get reading them. Right, back to me. Bye. So there is 4. Now, I did find out that Supernaturalathon is taking part in October as well, and that's run by Steph Loves. Then Royal Readathon, The Villains Takeover, is also going on, and that's by Becca Fowle. I will link everybody's channels below. And then Hey Readerathon is going on, and that's by Chantel and International Life. Sorry, I've got my options here. So I wanted to see if I could fit the books that I've picked, the 30, well, I'll say the 13 books. It depends what one you pick for my Twitter pick. So I thought I will go through and see which ones fit into which prompts. So for symbol on the cover, I thought, well, the Chris and Rosie Ramsey one will, because they've got an asterisk there, and that's a symbol, isn't it? So we'll go for that one for that. This is for Supernaturalathon, by the way. These are the prompts. The next prompt is a book featuring a supernatural being, and I thought, well, seeing as Audrey Hepburn is not alive anymore, she's dead, isn't she? So that is kind of a supernatural being, because she must be a spirit or a ghost or part of her imagination. So I'm going with that. Let's just see. That'll do. Then I can't do all 15 prompts, by the way. These are just the ones that these are going to fit into. Another prompt is a book to TV adaptation. So I thought that To All the Boys I Loved Before would go with that. Also Us by David Nichols, because I've just mentioned that's a TV adaptation, so that would go for that as well. These are all my prompts, so that's why I'm looking down. Sci-fi, like I mentioned, I've got Dodger, so definitely sci-fi, so I'll go with that. Definitely sci-fi if it's Terry Pratchett. Featuring an animal, Dodger. It's got an animal on the cover, so it must feature somewhere in there, so that can stick with that one. A fan fiction book. Now, I wasn't really 100% sure on what a fan fiction book is, but then I thought, well, Audrey Hepburn, she must be a fan of hers, mustn't she? So does that class as fan fiction? We'll go with that anyway. A book with a vehicle on the cover. So The Little Flower Shop by the Sea. I've got little boats there in the water, so that classes as a vehicle. Graphic novel, like I mentioned, if you guys pick it, then Pumpkinheads, I've never read one before, but that can go for the graphic novel. Featuring family, Us by David Nichols. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that they take their son with them, but he does feature in it somewhere, so that can include family. I'm pretty sure a lot of these book features family, actually. And then the next book in a series, what did I say for that one? Oh yeah, if you guys pick A Good Girl Guide to Murder, that's the next book in a series. I'm also including the Audrey Hepburn one in that because it is a book in a series. I know it's the first one, but it's not the first one that I've read. This will be the second really that I've read because I read them out of order. So that is Supernaturalathon. There are other prompts there. So there's reread, there's comedy, horror or thriller, a sad book, queer fantasy and featuring witches. There may well be a sad book within these, you know, some of the thrillers might have a comedic element to them. So if that happens, I might be able to still tick some of the prompts off. But because I haven't read them yet and I'm only going off the back of the books, I've just got to go with. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 10 prompts I could fill there without knowing fully what the books are about. So that's 10 out of 15. So I think you can say that I am taking part in Supernaturalathon with that because 10 out of 15 isn't bad. It's a bit harder with the villains takeover because of the prompts, but I think I've ticked off possibly 5 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, out of 10 again. So character obsessed with being the best, I thought I could go with Catch Me If You Can because I think they're both always trying to better each other, but that's because I've seen the film and apparently the book's quite different. But I'm assuming because he's running from him, you know, one of them's at least trying to better the other. So there's that one. A book with a controlling parent or guardian. Now, red, white and royal blue. One is the son of the president and one is the son of, is it the queen? Well, he's in the royal family anyway. So I thought, well, surely, because they've got to follow protocol, that would feel like the parent was controlling. It might be a bit of a loose thread, but we'll see. Like I said, one of the other books might have a controlling guardian or parent in, and then I can tick that off. A power-hungry villain. Andy said I could definitely pick How I Killed Margaret Thatcher for that. I'm pretty sure he wanted me to put a book with a dragon and a book with a witch as this one as well. But we'll go with power-hungry villain for that one. Book with a sexy villain. I don't know about that, but, and I don't know if he's even in this, but would we class Bill Sikes as a sexy villain? Is he even in Dodger? Is this just told the story of Dodger? I don't know. But if there does appear to be a baddie in one of these books that some people might class as sexy, then I'll include that in it. A book with an invasion. Well, I definitely thought, was it this one I was thinking of? Yeah, I think Our Women on the Ground. I'm assuming some of it is to do with war. So some of the stories might be to do with war. So I thought I could include that. But actually, I've just thought this could also class as a sad book for Supernaturalathon. As I'm sure there's some sad stories in this. Is this taking part in possibly Iraq and Afghanistan and places like that, which I think it might be, then yeah, there's bound to be some sad stories in that as well. So those are that ones, but the other ones, a book with a sibling rivalry. I don't know if any of these have got sibling rivalries in. If they have, it's not on the back, so I could be ticking that one off. I don't think any of them have got a dragon, although, like I said, Andy said I could include Margaret Thatcher for that. Book with a witch. I haven't got one with that. Book with magic. I mean, Audrey Hepburn turning up in your living room when she's actually dead. That could be classed as magic. Is that all? We'll see. And I haven't got a book with pirates, but I can at least tick 5 of those off. 5 out of 10, half. I still think I can safely say that I'll be taking part in the Villains Takeover Readathon. And then Hey Readerathon. This is just a week long, this one, and it's just got 5 prompts, and those are orange on the cover or spine. So Pumpkinheads has got orange on the cover or spine. So if you pick that one, then that's an option. There's also Daisy Jones and the Six, that's got orange on the cover, and the Little Flower Shop by the Sea, there's a little flower with a bit of orange in it. It's really small, but I still think that counts. 3 words in the title, The Hunting Party will class for that. A water word in the title, The Little Flower Shop by the Sea, because obviously sea's in there. First book in a series, I've gone for To All the Boys I've Loved Before. And then there's a bonus prompt, and you had to read a book that had been featured in her fall recommendation video. And I had a look through those books, and one of them that was mentioned was Hans Christian Andersen. Now, I haven't got it here. I'll take a picture of it and I'll insert it. I've got a Hans Christian Andersen Tales book from when I was a little girl, so it would be lovely to read that again. So I thought if I read a story a night, I should be able to fit that in easily. So really, I'm reading 14 books if you think about it, but we'll see. I was averaging 15 books a month. This month has been a fail with Bookathon. I'd be very surprised if I reach 16 like I was planning to. But if I can reach 15 and I've only got 13 and the Hans Christian Andersen treasury, so 14, I might be able to fit a few extras in and tick off a few more prompts. So we'll see how we go. Sorry if this seemed a bit manic. It's my fault for trying to fit readathons in as well. But basically that is how Scrabble and is going to work in the future. I will pick 8 books and I will hopefully pick them out on the screen, and then we'll look together on the cart and see if we can find any that match. It was only that my little girl had already picked them and I didn't want to just scrap those letters. So in future I will pick them on the screen and that will be the 8. Then whoever I've asked to be my Scrabble and, so this month it was spouse, but you know, it could be my little girl, it could be Sophie. I've got loads of people I can ask. So they will pick 4. And then, yeah, I think in future I'll still do the Twitter poll as well, unless there maybe is a book club one that I've got to fit in, and I might add that as one of the options. So that's how it's going to work in future. And hopefully in some of the future months, if there's not a readathon on, it won't be as manic with me with all my post-its and everything. But I'll hope to do it every month, but if I can't do it one time because I've got other things on, it'll just be every few months. I'll just do Scrabble and we'll go with that. So I hope it wasn't too manic for you. I hope it's pretty easy. It's not really Scrabble related at all. It's only that I'm using the tiles really. Oh, I wanted to do a shout out. When I decided, oh gosh, months and months ago, I always thought, oh, if I do my own channel, I'd do one around Scrabble. And when I looked at the time, there was nobody else doing that. But then when I started my channel, I just had a little look to see, and oh, I can't remember the name of it. It was the same girl who did the joined the 6 readathon. It's is it Cats and Camera? I'll have a look and I'll link her channel down below because I do watch that channel, and I've seen her do a Scrabble, and she does her 7 letters and then she tries to make words out of the letters as well. So I don't know if I could even make one out of that, but yeah, so I'll link her channel below. So she's my Scrabble twin, and she does one a little bit differently as well, so I'll link that below. But I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you next time. Bye.